And I wonder if I can now edit this now that I am here, finally. And I hope that some of you will also be joining me shortly. And I hope that it's now showing you where I am. I'm not sure though. Hello, hello, I see you. And my husband, my glamorous assistant. I'm either very British or very old to remember the lovely Debbie McGee, who was the assistant of Paul Daniels and wife. So I was about to refer to my husband as the glamorous Debbie McGee. He is currently wearing a party hat. I might show you, in fact, I can do it on my phone now. There he is. Wave to everybody. You might notice that I'm a little bit croaky. Unfortunately, the pollen count is doing me dirty, so I do sound a little bit like I've just smoked 50 Benson and Hedges. I haven't, but I do have my cup of tea in a Baby Shark mug, because that is my son's favourite song of all time. I cannot tell you how excited I am that we finally managed to get on a live stream. I was 3 times I've tried this and absolutely no luck. And what this does allow me to do is have my laptop now next to me. Let's have a follow account in real time. Show us my dog. I don't have a dog. I have a chinchilla, but she's asleep currently. So I will just get a picture up and I'll put a picture of my chinchilla on Instagram. But we haven't got a dog. I've got a baby. He doesn't bark, but he does bite. And we are currently, friends, on 99,970 subscribers. So by my terrible maths, that makes 30 subscribers until we are at the coveted 100,000 subscribers. Hello from Ohio. It's lovely to have you here. I'm not sure what time it is for you over there. For us, it is 5 p.m. My husband has just brought the phone in with a picture of our chinchilla. That's Starbuck. She's a very spicy little nugget. And we love her very much. We don't let our son anywhere near her because she will bite through to the bone because that's what chinchillas do. Oh, Jess, I thought I heard a dog barking in one of your earlier stream attempts. What you may have heard is some children outside in our communal garden. One of my neighbours, a bunch of my neighbours have let their kids out to play and they have been squeaking, and potentially it may have sounded like barking from a distance. 11 a.m. over there, 17 p.m. I'm going to go with that being 5 p.m. Over with where you are, which of course it is 1700 hours, but I got confused there because I'm full of hay fever. I'm very excited, friends, that you've all come to join me. I'm not quite sure how many of you are in the chat because it does show me there's 107 of you here. So if out of that 107, 110 now, if of that 110, are you all subscribed? Have you double checked that you haven't been unsubscribed by YouTube? Because maybe you could resubscribe, or if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe so that we do have that coveted 100,000 before too long. Cooking in South Shields, you've double checked subscribe. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you, and it's so great to have you all here. So I thought, as I've got you here, and we are heading towards 100,000, what changes can we put on the channel? I've been thinking about things like maybe doing channel membership, and I was wondering if that would be something that you would be interested in doing. I'm aware there are various things that you can do in channel membership, so you can put tiers in. Some allow you to have fun emojis when you're commenting. There are other things where you can do members only, this, that, or the other thing. I was wondering if having a membership option on this channel would be something that anybody was interested in, because I can certainly look into putting something together if that would be the sort of thing that you would like. Jennifer Edwards, that'll be fine by you. Fabulous. It wouldn't, I want to just make it very clear that I wouldn't make any of my content, any of my weekly videos, that wouldn't be members only. But I am thinking about setting some of my videos up to be premieres, because I know that then I can be in a live chat and have conversations while the video is rolling. And I think that there can be stuff that I can do which privileges members of the channel to put them higher up in conversations. And I was just wondering if that was the sort of thing that people would be interested in. And if it is, then I can certainly work on something. Not immediately, because it takes me a while to get my brain around things, but I will definitely have a go. Lots of people, Montana, seeing people from all over the world. Will, you love premieres. I was always a bit scared of them, but that's because I'm scared of change and new things. So I think I'm going to try and be brave and do some premieres, because I feel like that would be a really good way to talk in real time, particularly about some of the stuff in the videos, if maybe I haven't been clear, or there's some knowledge that I have that might offer greater context to something that I've said, so that's perhaps unrelated to the video that would be useful in a live chat. I think it'd be really worthwhile to do premieres if I'm about. So I don't blame anyone who does a tiered membership option. I understand it offers. Oh, Wendy, that's my concern, is that I don't ever want to make anybody feel that they have to pay money, because that's why I put ads, or I allow ads to be on my YouTube. That's why I go for and check out and choose to do certain paid partnerships, to mean that this can be free. It's the reason why I've never done a Patreon, because I don't want to put content behind a paywall. And so I'm wondering if it might be an option to say, well, the videos and the premieres are for everyone, but commenting on certain things, and maybe I might do some live streams where members have privileged place to comment. But at the same time, I don't want anybody to feel like I only care about them if they're paying, because that's absolutely not what's going on. But slowly but surely, YouTube has become a large part of my job. Dana, memberships was a money grab. Yeah, that's my fear. I don't want it to feel like it's a money grab. But the other thing is that one of the things about premieres and things like live streams is that the comments come in really thick and fast, and I want a way to halve the number of comments, completely selfishly, and I feel like memberships might be a way to halve that number. So I don't know. I'm thinking about it, and of course, no one has to have a membership. It will be an option, in the same way that there's super thanks on the channel. That's an option. It doesn't mean that I love you any less, because I do. Gosh, that got very Dick Van Dyke there. I do apologise. I don't know why the Cockney came out of me, but it escaped with full force. What's that saying? Could you have a TE? I don't know what that means. The comments are going very fast. I thought I'd slowed them down, but I'm thinking that my husband is watching. He's helping to moderate. So if I miss something that's very useful, and they're all very useful, of course, if I miss something that's a prescient question, then he can let me know, because it's now on my phone screen. Once again, I've gone live, and it's a catastrophe once again. I've gone live and it's very disorganised. This time I at least have a moderator to try and help me. Have I missed a good one?
No, there's a lot of appreciation for live sessions and some for membership, but there's also obviously concern about the price.
Yeah.
It's all about the members. It's all about the content.
So, well, the content will not be changing. Hello from Maine, and more live streams. I'm very happy to do more live streams. Oh, Gabs, Gabs Ed, you're lovely. I always feel like everything's a bit disorganised when it comes to me.
Bookshelf
So,
tour.
a bookshelf tour. Maybe that could be a future live stream. I might have to be honest, I might have to go column by column or shelf by shelf. Some of the books, now all of the ones in here are all mine. My husband has some books in French, and they're downstairs. This is one of our bookshelves, and it stretches out there. I have a problem when it comes to buying books. Since my son's been born, I've started listening to audiobooks because he doesn't like it when there's anything in my hands. So I do have other books that are digital, and I'm quite enjoying audiobooks. I was always very much like, no audiobooks. I'm a purist. I want the physical thing. But you make a lot of changes when you have kids, and a lot of the things you say you'll never do, particularly when it comes to parenting, alter the minute that you have a child. So yes, maybe we could do another live stream with a bookshelf tour. I'd be up for that. And talking about that, what other things would be good to do a live stream? I'm thinking maybe we could do Q&As. Helen, my son will be 2 in September. My husband has just pointed out that I need to talk about the things that live on my shelf, which we refer to as guilt gifts. My husband's spent a lot of time working away, and every time he'd go away, here's a little hippo he brought back, he would give me guilt gifts. So that is one of the things that you see.
Kenya.
Though that's this one's from when he went to Kenya. Then we've also got, where's this one from? Turkey. Got a little man playing a musical instrument.
Could it be Azerbaijan?
Or it could be Azerbaijan, we aren't sure. This is from a recent trip. Aren't they gorgeous? And just a smidge creepy. They come from Sweden. The hair, I'm not sure what the hair is made of. It feels real, which is disturbing, but I also enjoy it. And from the most recent trip, he also brought back this little mermaid sat on a rock. So yes, the guilt gifts are coming in thick and fast. Gabriel is also getting guilt gifts. Jamie has bought him lots of t-shirts, and they are going to, when he gets older, I'll have them all made into a quilt for him. The green dinosaur and the red dinosaur. Yes. So when Jamie and I got married, I asked 2 of my friends to read the poem The Lovely Dinosaur, and they bought these little puppets as to do their reading, and they gave us the puppets as part of at our wedding. So that's why they live on my shelf. Those aren't guilt gifts from my husband. They are wedding presents.
I didn't have a work trip to the Jurassic era.
Jamie says he didn't have a work trip to the Jurassic era, which is good to know, because, Jurassic Park is not an aspirational video for anybody to be watching. Let's check the subscriber count, which is why we're all here. Well, one of the reasons, hopefully. We've gone up by 8, friends. 99,978. Very exciting. I'm seeing lots of suggestions for videos come in. One about exile. And I know most, I think, about what I would probably call self-imposed exile. So I can talk about that for sure. Which historical character did you like learning about the most? Who's your all-time fave? Tracy, that is like asking a parent of many children who is their favourite child.
Stop.
Well, obviously I've really enjoyed looking at the Tudor period. Bess of Hardwick has a special place in my heart. I don't know if I would have liked her. I think she would have been potentially quite difficult to get on with. But at the same time, I respect the hustle, put it that way. And I think my son, I think I hear the dulcet tones of my son, who's just woken up from the start of a danger nap. What about a Q&A as one of the characters you've portrayed? Do you know what? I am in the market currently to sort myself out with some historical costume. So we can definitely do that. I'm thinking and trying to. Catherine's just not the Tudor tracker. Where did giraffes live in the Jurassic area in Jurassic Park? Catherine, I love you. I am thinking of getting some costume from what we would call low status Tudor, in which case I could potentially do a video as one of my favourite figures to have ever portrayed, which is Alice Wolfe, the river pirate. And I believe I made a video on her trying to escape from the tower. And perhaps I could even film it on location. Maybe I could go down to the old execution dock at Wapping and I could talk about Alice Wolfe. Have I done a video about wigs in history? You're a wig maker, Will. I have never done a video about wigs in history. Honestly, it's not something that I know an awful lot about. I can definitely look into it and try to. One thing I am aware of is that there's a lot, much like with corsetry, there's a lot of modern propaganda, I guess you'd call it, about how the wigs are all lousy and disgusting and all of that sort of stuff. But I think there's probably a lot of myth in that. DC asked, what was the topic I did my PhD on? The title of the PhD thesis was Things Necessary and Unnecessary, Trash and Trifles in Early Modern England. And for those of you that are interested in how I ended up writing about that, I was always very aware that I'm a literary and material and cultural historian by trade, and I was always very aware that when we approach history and trying to understand history, we do it through a veil of aspiration. We think to ourselves, what is this person trying to achieve that means they made this move in history? And I think all too often we forget that the other side of that coin is the thing people are running from, the thing people are trying to avoid happening. And so when it came to looking at trash and trifles, that notion of abjection, the thing that creates a perception of valuelessness, but also in the case of trash, a perception that something is dangerous, even infective to the value system of the community. That's something that fascinates me. And the example I always give when it comes to why that conversation matters is, say for example, for anybody who's British or particularly a Londoner, this may only make sense to you, but it's the example that I give. Londoners, if you're walking through King's Cross train station and you spot the fact that there's no bins, if you don't come from London, or even say for example you are an alien dropped from the sky, you look around and you see that all of these bins, there are no bins, they're all missing. You might think that that is because we desire a greener world, that our aspiration is to be environmentally friendly. But actually, the bins were removed because there were bombs placed in them once upon a time. So that's the reason why there weren't bins. It's a case of fear. It's a case of trying to avoid something. It's to abject it. And so I think that to me was really powerful. And I thought, well, if it takes that understanding to read that landscape, which is so recent to us, what's the case when it comes to other landscapes, other questions? And so that's I think why I did that topic. And it's 100,000 words. There it is. Which, there we go. You're talking about, there's some collabs coming up. Somebody asked me if I would collab with Susanna Lipscomb, and the short answer is, if she asked me, I would be there as quick as you like. I would absolutely love to collab with her. I haven't checked out Tasting History, but I certainly will check that out. I'm very up for collabing with people. I really enjoy collabing with Lauren from Lauren Learns History. I have a great time working with other people. It's it's a peculiar old life. Is anybody watching The Essex Serpent? I don't have Apple TV, so I haven't had it. Are we talking about what everybody's nicknames are? I mean, I think you're readers. What do you think about that? But of course, you can name yourselves, because I don't think it's necessarily my call. But I refer to you as readers in my messages, or friends, because you're both. But I'm happy to go with something else if you should so choose. I'd love to see a video on what Britain learned or not from losing the American colonies. Well, I mean, the question of what we've learned from the end of empire is potentially endlessly fascinating, and I'm not sure if everybody's learned the same thing, shall we say, as everybody else. I mean, there are seemingly some people who think it isn't over, and maybe it's after effects or not. Have I watched Gentleman Jack? I'm catching in with various ones as they're coming up. I have not watched any of Gentleman Jack. It looks fabulous from what I've seen of it. The story, the costume looks absolutely spot on. But my tiny human thinks sleep is for the weak. So, sorry. Oh, pardon me. The hay fever's kicking in, and it's ever so slightly brutal. I'm going to sip some more tea. But it's definitely one of them that I want to check out. I also need to check out a whole host of other stuff. Marks Anonymous, Francesca, there are plans afoot. So do watch this space. Imminent plans afoot. So there is something that's definitely in the pipeline, and hopefully more after that. I have yet to start Downton Abbey. What channel is Downton Abbey on? I need to check that out. And I certainly would consider doing a video on the history of witchcraft. Absolutely. So I might even collaborate with somebody on that. I have been in conversation about potentially doing that. Let's just double check the subscriber count. It's loading. My computer's fixed. Oh, hello, friends. We are at 99,985 subscribers. I can't believe it. So by my maths, that's 15 to go. So anybody in this chat, there is now 305 of you. God bless you all. If you aren't subscribed, if you've been unsubscribed, have a check now. Subscribe. Drag your friends in. Call your sister, your brother, your dog groomer, whoever. Call them. Tell them to subscribe. And hello, friends. Yes, I think witchcraft is really fascinating. I think that the thing is, you have to focus on particular periods to unpack witchcraft in a useful way, I suppose is the thing that I would say. I don't know if that's a reductive way of putting it. I think that if you just talk about, particularly in like a 20-minute video, if you talk about broad strokes witchcraft, for example, Helen's brought up Salem. So when I think about witchcraft and witchcraft trials, I'm thinking about what happens in Scotland with demonology and James VI of Scots. That's where my mind goes. My understanding of witchcraft and witchcraft trials is what comes down from Scotland for a brief period of time to London. I mean, it also seems to me, and I'd certainly need to do much more in-depth looks into this, it seems to me that James kind of goes off it a bit. He doesn't seem to be quite so ardent as he is in Scotland. you know, in Scotland, he is literally hands-on with hunting witches. And that isn't something that happens quite so much. It seems to go out with the bathwater. I suppose he has far more shiny things to concern himself with in London, and gets a bit distracted by other people, perhaps. But yes, the Witch Trials of Salem, it's, first and foremost, it sits outside of my usual area of study in terms of location timeline. So my understanding and my learning on the, in quotes, New World is an Elizabethan, early Jacobean New World. So the world of Salem is quite distinct and different from anything I've worked on. What's that, darling?
Little boy's awake.
Oh, our little boy is awake, and he is, and it's potentially quite spicy. So I've now lost my moderator. So, alas, that may well mean that I missed some comments. Hang on. Bayonne the Bear? Have I watched Wolf Hall? I have watched Wolf Hall, and I think it is utterly phenomenal. Oh dear, he's not a happy bunny. But then I love Mark Rylance. I think that Mark Rylance is one of, if not the, finest actor of his generation. It was a privilege. I also saw him play Richard III at the Globes production, although it was in the West End. He's just utterly spectacular as an actor, and I think he was and is the perfect Cromwell. And Wolf Hall is incredibly well researched. Hilary Mantel, she knows her stuff. What I will say is that where the fiction is that it does rehabilitate Cromwell in a way that I think is interesting, because frequently Cromwell is the villain of the piece. He's the one who brings down Anne, and you know, he's almost set up, much like in Wolf Hall, he's set up as an opposition point to Thomas More. And what's interesting is that I think that Hilary Mantel heard Thomas More is somewhat, I suppose, blackened. The character of Thomas More is blackened to a degree in Wolf Hall. And maybe that's the purpose of that, is to elevate Cromwell. So I do think that it's an interesting take. I mean, I can certainly see that people have a problem with Cromwell. What I will say is that I don't think that he had as much to do with things as he gets credited with. Henry, for me, much like Elizabeth, the masterpiece of their monarchy, if there is such a thing, is their capacity to create bad guys. So that's going to be useful to remain as a monarch. If you have, in quotes, bad counsellors who can take the rap for your nonsense, then that tends to mean that people go for them rather than for you. And an example I give of this is, if you make it personal, it doesn't end well. Charles I went in person to Parliament to arrest his enemies, and it didn't end well for him. So that's what I think, is that Cromwell served his purpose, and I do believe that he was one of Henry's great servants, and I think one of his loyal servants as well, and a fascinating character. Darcy says, how accessible is the membership option? In short, I don't know, because I haven't set it up yet, but I would by no means make it, we're going to be talking like a couple of quid. I'm not gonna be like 50 English pounds and you can see my face once a week. It's gonna be accessible. Gabriel's going downstairs. He's saying, Mama, hello baby. Do you want to say hello to Gabriel? Just quickly. Do you want to come and say hello? He's quite red faced because he's just woken up and he's teething. Oh, there he is.
Can you say hello?
Can you say hello? Oh, you want to go, Daddy? Oh, you go, Daddy. It's a bit hot in the lights. So he's going to go put some shoes on. He's going to go out and play with the children in the garden. So yes, the membership options are, I think, as accessible as the individual behind them. I've sort of brought this up, and I don't really know how it's going to work, but I certainly wouldn't make it expensive. I saw, oh, thank you for the lovely comments. Yeah, he's really blonde. I do, and thank you for saying he looks like me, because I do get quite a lot of people going, is his father fair? And I know that they're sort of asking, is this your biological child? He is my biological child, and I did have him. I grew him myself. But he is incredibly fair. But his dad was very blonde when he was a child, and his hair got darker as he got older. But he's a very sweet. We like him quite a lot. Idris, Holbein's pictures of Moore and Cromwell at the Frick. You're absolutely right there. I think that whatever happened, Holbein, there's no love lost between Holbein and Cromwell, because the way he paints him is just piggy-eyed and scheming. It's just a really, really unfortunate portrait. I do feel sorry for Cromwell in that, because, yeah, Holbein certainly doesn't seem to like him. Marie or Mary, got the same thing. You're brunette. Your son was a towel head. Does that mean blonde? Or redhead? Was that redhead maybe? Is he yours? Yeah, it's such a weird thing to ask somebody. But people do get very. People do have quite a lot of freedom to ask questions, they feel, about other people's reproductive journeys. I saw somebody higher up saying, if Anne Boleyn had Towelhead is a blonde. Well, that's a new Modern Witch. Thank you so much for that. That's really kind of you. Thank you very much. Beverly, who asked that? People ask pregnant women and women with small children all sorts of weird questions. You know, things like, Mandy, is he yours or did you steal him? Yeah, all of those sorts of things. People ask, I don't know if husbands get it or fathers get it quite so much, but I got asked some really odd stuff. Although my husband does get frequently referred to as babysitting, which drives him up the wall, and rightly so, because he is a completely equal parent who wants to take his son out and about and gets incredibly frustrated when he has to go into big chain shops, stores that should have accessible places, and North Scotia, oh, the black cat, thank you. That's really kind of you. Thank you so much. Thank you for that super chat, I think it is. That's really very kind of you. Sorry, go back to Anne if she had a boy. If Anne had a boy, would she have been executed? I don't think so. I don't think that Anne would have been executed had she had a boy. Ultimately, what happens to Anne Boleyn is that she is tried for treason. The treason that she is tried for is that she has imagined the king's death. Because let's be clear, a queen sleeping with other men is totally frowned upon, but that doesn't make her a traitor. The law of the land at the time that Anne is accused is that the men accused alongside her, they would have been the traitors, but Anne isn't a traitor, even if she was an adulteress. Her treason is that she imagined the king's death with Henry Norris, apparently. She says, Master Norris, you look for dead men's shoes, for if aught but good should come to the king, you would look to have me. So in essence, if the king died, you'd want me to be your wife. Now, did she say it? Maybe, possibly. Is this a game of courtly love gone wrong? I mean, yes. I think she was probably getting quite desperate, quite afraid of what was happening, and she may have spoken quickly and poorly and overstepped the bounds of courtly love. It was within the same wheelhouse of flirtation and courtly love, but a step too far. And in doing that, she technically commits treason. Now, if she'd had a boy, we would never have known that conversation happened. Never in a million years, we would never have heard about it, because it wouldn't matter, because she had a boy. So we'd never know she said it. Mary Beth, thank you ever so much. Patricia, thank you. Incredibly kind of you. And Lake Huron girl, you've sent me a little thank you. You've sent me a thank you jumper, who is very cute. Is that a pear? That's very sweet. And also thank you so much for the super chat. This is incredibly kind of you all. Thank you. Oh, that reminds me. 9.9k. Let's do a numbers check. That's what we're doing. Oh my gosh, we're at 100,000, guys. We're at 100,000. Oh my gosh, it just told me we're at. Thank you all so much. Thank you all so much. Oh, yay! We're at 100,000. So I'm really excited. Yay! I've kind of lost my thought process there. My husband just come bursting in. He's very excited too. Oh wow. Oh, Gabriel, no, it's okay. It's nothing to be afraid of. It's a good thing, sweetie. Wow, thank you. Thank you, Lucy Evans. Thank you, Nor Scosh. Oh, I am amazed and astounded. And Kindness Cake, thank you. I'm really pleased that you enjoy my content. And when it comes to my knowledge of London's East End, I'm a North Londoner by birth. I've said this before, but I am an East Londoner by choice. I live here now. I love the East End. I want to make more videos about the East End. Kiki, thank you. And Intrepid Frady Lady, thank you so much, guys. This is incredibly kind of you. Thank you. Jump quickly. Marina, thank you so much. I'm so pleased that you're all here and joining in with this. Megan, oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you so much. You guys, Marty, I'm so grateful for these super chats. Thank you ever so much. It's incredibly kind of you. I'm genuinely just so pleased to be sharing this with you. Starshine Dragon Song, you were when I was around 25,000. Thank you for sticking with me all this long. Robin, thank you. I'm going to try not to get emotional. So I started this channel because I had a rough time. Oh dear, Gabriel's upset. Oh, I think we're going to go and play in our bedroom. So I had a really rough time in academia, and it wasn't the best for me, and I had quite a lot of emotional struggles coming out of it. So yes, Gabriel is okay. He just woke up. Gabriel wants 200 followers. He's with his dad. He wants his pacifier, and he didn't have it. So I think he's gone to get that now. He's just quietened down. So it was quite a quick cry. So I had a rough time coming out of my PhD, and I love history. I've always loved history. I've loved sharing it. And so I started this channel because, as somebody who is dyslexic, I always knew that I probably wasn't going to be one of those scholars that turned out an article every quarter and contributed to knowledge in that way. And I've always wanted to feel in some way useful. And so making this channel was my way of trying to contribute and trying to be useful. And every subscriber that I got, I was just over the moon every single time. And to be here, to be at 100,000, I never expected it. Or rather, I always hoped it might happen. Honestly, of course you do. You want people. You don't make videos so that no one watches. Who would do that? I always wanted this to happen, but I didn't think it necessarily would. I've got some cool comments. Roxanne, have I seen the No Touchy Touch story? Defrost what in the? Hang on, defrosted worms are alive and eating. No. Oh Lord. Okay, I'm gonna have to go and make a TikTok about that soon. Roxanne, is there any way that you could do you follow me on Twitter? Do you have Twitter? Could you possibly send me a link to that? That sounds disturbing. And also thank you very much for the super chat. Thank you, Gabs, a #1 fan. Lovely little pair. Jodie, thank you for the congratulations. Thank you for the super chat. And I'm so pleased that you're looking forward to my post. Thank you for all of these amazingly kind comments. Adriana, thank you. Thank you. Bobby, thank you. Is that Real? I apologise if I mispronounced that. And I'm so pleased that you enjoy my content. I hope that your surgery was a complete success and that you are now fully recovered. And alas, my voice is not particularly soothing at the moment because it does sound like I've just gargled with gravel. But we're getting there. We're all together and having a nice time. Claudia, look at that. Look at that flying super pair. Is it a pair? I'm saying it's a pair. I'm not sure if what that is. Dyslexic following on this chat. I mean, I'm having to pause it on my phone, and I'm definitely missing things. And DC, thank you very much. I'm very far back in the chat, I think. Okay, I'm going to try and catch up. Friends. The San Jose family, my goodness, thank you very much. Dr. Kev's gal, sending me and my family lots of love from Memphis, Tennessee. Thank you. And same to you and yours in Memphis, Tennessee. I want to do a trip to America. I've only ever been to New York, and there's so much amazing stuff. I mean, I know there's some really interesting interpretation, live costume interpretation work that goes on in the States. I've been following some costumed interpreters from America. I really would be very interested to see how they work. Kathleen, thank you so much. Oh, Megan, bring on the plaque. Yes, I need to find out how that. I don't think they just send it to you, do they? I think you have to ask for it and go, hi, I've got to this number, please send me the plaque. And I will. And when they send it to me, I will maybe go live again and do an unboxing. I didn't expect this live stream to be going on for 43 minutes. I thought it'd be a quick, hello, how are we all doing? Oh, we're nowhere near. Oh, I'll see you all tomorrow. Metalsome Mother, are you a metal fan? Heavy metal, I like it. Thank you so much for the super chat. So successful. You're going in next month to have your other carotid artery cleaned out. I don't pretend to know what that would entail. I wish you every success with it, and I hope that your recovery is very speedy, very speedy. Kath, RN, does that mean you're a registered nurse? If so, thank you for being a registered nurse, and thank you for your service to your patients, I'm sure. And thank you also for the very cute squidgy heart super chat. I am just so happy that, wow, these are such lovely comments. Williamsburg for interpreters. Yes, Colonial Williamsburg. That's one of the ones I've heard about. And I have seen some really interesting interpretation happening there. And I would very much like to see. And Yvonne, come to some Renaissance fairs, or as you, I believe, call them, Renaissance fairs. I want to come so bad I can taste it. Like I want to drink mead and dance like a nutter. It will be glorious. I would skip to my loo, my darling, which is not particularly period appropriate, but hey ho. It'll be a good time. A play button unboxing and a Q&A. What? Separate lives or the same live? I mean, we could do that. I think. I mean, how long could it possibly take me to unwrap a play button? I have scissors. Bernadette has moved to London. She's fabulous. I absolutely love her videos. And Kathy Hay, I need to look her up. I love Bernadette's work. She's absolutely phenomenal. Just brilliant. Hello, Kim from Little Dinosaurs Ali Pally. So, a few months ago, I took my son for his very first soft play trip, and I met the lovely Kim at Little Dinosaurs, and she was very kind, and it was lovely to meet her and have a chat. And I basically left my friend playing with Gabriel while we talked about history, and he was completely nonplussed, although I am sneaking him into a love of history by taking him to all of the various historical sites, and I will be taking him to a joust at the start of next month, so which could go one of either way, because on the one hand he's going to love it, on the other hand he's gone past the phase of you put him somewhere and he stays there, so the infant stage where they're what we refer to as a noisy potato. So you'd lay the noisy potato down, and then you'd walk away from the noisy potato, and he'd just be there. But now our noisy potato likes to climb things. Today he grabbed hold of his window and started pulling himself up like a pull-up. Fortunately, it's one of those windows that has a lockable bar, and his head is big enough that it won't fit through, but it does make my heart race ever so slightly. So we'll see how he deals with stampeding horses, because knowing him, he might think it's something that he can, try and chew on. Sister Jess, you love hearing about history. Thank you for your comment. North Scotch, have I heard of Not Your Mum's History? I absolutely have. Cheney, I love her content. I think it would be a dream of mine to get a chance to just sit down and talk to her. I don't even want to say that I've done the same job as her, because I don't think I have. I've been a historical interpreter in sites in the UK, and you come across things that you have to deal with as an interpreter, but to interpret the stories that she interprets, I'd love to get her point of view and to learn from her. I think it would be awesome, and I will. If ever I get the chance, I will jump on it so quickly. Green Idea, how do I manage living in London, and besides social media, how else do you make money? I make money as an educator in heritage, so that is one of the ways that I make money. I could always do with making more money. Fortunately, my husband is able to be the major breadwinner, and it would be my hope is that I am able to support him even better. So currently I make enough, but costs pop up every now and again. I can confirm the phone works. Yes, I did title this, Will the Phone Work? The phone does in fact work. So we now know that the audio is a little low. I don't know much about. Maybe if I turn it up, maybe that will work. Marianne, horses are not fond of trampling people. They are not, but I think that horses that work as jousting horses will trample with abandon. Let's have, we're past 100,000. It's done, but let's see where we are. Townsend and Sons, I need to check that out. We are at 100,007 subscribers. Yes. Kath, so happy that there are 100,000 history nerds. I agree. I am astounded, and I love it. And my lovely friend Catherine, not just the Tudor Tracker, who we do our podcast together. it's me, Catherine, and Philippa from British History Tours. We do History After Dark over on Instagram every Wednesday. I tell you what, it's a bit weird being live and remembering that I'm on my YouTube channel and not History After Dark, because we do get ever so slightly spicy over there. So I'm trying to keep everything I say polite and pre-watershed, shall we say. But yes, my lovely friend, thank you. You're amazing too. Joe, oh, thank you. I'm really glad that you enjoy the channel. I'm really glad. Thank you so much. Oh, these are lovely, lovely, such lovely comments. The name of the podcast, because what we do is we do History After Dark is a live stream, and then we record the audio, and the lovely Philippa then edits the audio into a podcast that is called History After Dark. Full disclosure, it's spicy. We aim to be educational, but we also don't stop ourselves from swearing. And I tell you something, sometimes people are a bit surprised because I don't swear on YouTube, but I do in real life. A lot, like it's my second job. As Catherine and Philippa will attest, I have a absolutely filthy mouth and an even dirtier mind. Sometimes my mind is so vulgar that my mouth can't quite keep up. But I try to keep it clean. Over here on YouTube, because I'm afraid of the algorithm. I'll be honest. I'm afraid of the YouTube fairies and what they might want. What's that? James just popped out and gone that I'm very sweary. Every mum swears. Yeah, here's the thing, right? So does my kid now. I'm pretty sure I've caught him swearing. How did I come up with reading the past as a channel name? Well, because I'm a literary, material and cultural historian, I spend a lot of time looking at the way that text can tell us about history. And so I read the past. I also, when I look at art pieces, I think you can read portraits and other paintings like their text. So I'm very keen on that notion of reading the past. Where can one find History After Dark? We're a squealy baby now. One can find History After Dark either on Instagram, or you can find us. We are where you get your podcasts. I believe everywhere you get your podcasts. One of Gabriel's favourite words is truck. That is a dangerous word for him. So is sit. I'm telling myself that he says, oh, sit. I don't think he says, oh, sit. Particularly not in the context that he says it. So that's going to be fun at nursery. Well, I have to explain that one. I'm currently telling him that he's saying sit. I tell them that he's saying sit. I don't think he is. Thank you for pointing you in the direction of Caitlin Ask a Mortician. Caitlin Ask a Mortician. I don't know her, except for I feel that I know her because I watch her on YouTube and I think she is phenomenal. As I've mentioned, I've had some mental health struggles, and one of the things that used to really freak me out was anything to do with death. So watching her channel has genuinely helped my mental health in certain directions. So yeah, she's brilliant, absolutely phenomenal. Pixie Rose Kate, you raised your son around pirate reenactors. God bless you. How often do you get called up to school? Oddest mum moment, hearing traffic curses echoing. Oh Lord. See, that's the thing. Like, I have a vulgar mouth, but what's even worse is when I drive, I also have anger management issues. I have just squealing road rage. So if he hasn't already heard me say it, he's going to hear it when I drive him, because also my husband hasn't got a driving license. I'm the only driver. So, yeah, Lord, oh Lord. Your granddaughter said the F-bomb rather than truck. Is this one of the things where I say that my son's saying sit? Are these the lies we tell ourselves? Darlene, love it when I talk about art that's been taken from other countries. I'm going to keep talking about it. It's become one of my many soapboxes. I think it's important. I think that repatriation is necessary. And if for whatever reason it's not currently possible, then I think the very least institutions can do is employ at a appropriate wage people for whom those artifacts are their heritage. Because what to me doubles down on the injustice of it is that these pieces of art have been taken, and then on top of that, we are cataloguing them, codifying them, and labeling them according to our interpretation. And I think that we need to employ and properly pay, because let's not squeak around it, properly pay people for whom those that art is their heritage, so that we can understand from their point of view. Please talk about the historical people of colour in the UK. I would certainly, yes, absolutely. I've got a couple of ideas. So I said in a video that I was looking to do some on-location filming, and there are some really interesting sites fairly near me actually, places where people from other nations, particularly people from a Muslim background in the Elizabethan period, came over, and these churches were places where they converted to the Christian faith. So yeah, I definitely want to have those conversations as well. Slightly tangential, but how about a video on Helen Dunkel? Oh, gee, search my channel. I've got one on The Last Witch already, and yeah, I have talked about The Last Witch. Daryl, a curse jar. Sweetie, that would be without before too long. The curse jar would have more cash in it than my bank account. I could pay my mortgage with a curse jar. Townsend's provides clothing, etc., to movies and TV. Okay, I need to check out. Sorry, this is a conversation that you're having, I think, with somebody else. I need to find out about Townsend's. Teach middle school. No thanks. Absolutely not. Sorry. I do teach occasionally middle school aged children. Yeah, I say children, they're 15 and 16. I do teach middle school aged children in that regard, and they come in to heritage sites and then they go away again, and they are wonderful, but not every day, thanks. Not every day. Let's see, where are we? You once went on a purple conundrum. You once went on a staycation with the money in your swear jar. I think, to be honest, it wouldn't be long if I actually put up a swear jar and was honest. We'd be on a round the world cruise within about 6 months. Julie, the podcast is, as far as I'm aware, everywhere you get your podcasts. It's History After Dark. If not, if you go to Instagram, history.after.dark, then you will find the Instagram, and there is a link tree. That's the word I was just... Wow! A link tree which will have all of that stuff, the good stuff in there. 12-year-olds are now middle-aged. I mean, they think they're grown. Megan, are educators in England under attack like they are here in the US? I think, I mean, I don't know to the degree, but I think there are conversations happening about pride and questions of how much pride we should have, and whether or not certain educational frameworks damage that pride, which I think is interfering with the way in which curriculum is delivered in ways that doesn't help students or teachers, but potentially helps a nationalistic agenda to be fostered. But that's my opinion. And when it comes to the academy, so the universities, there are some frankly terrifying things happening in this country in terms of the lack of money. The last week I have been seeing the most upsetting news coming out of really fabulous institutions and their humanities departments, and the amount of people that are risking redundancy, who I know these departments, and I know them to be just full of the most fabulous, dedicated scholars, and they are at risk of being made redundant. So does it certainly feels like we're under attack. I don't know what it's like in the US, so I can't comment, but I think it's coming from similar places, and things like the humanities subjects are the ones that are, so to speak, under the cosh. Scott, thank you so much for your lovely comment and your super chat. It's incredibly kind of you. Thank you very much. Joe, previous questions. Are the historical abuses of Britain's empire being whitewashed because of government policies? Look, here's what I will say. I have a source that I promised I would keep anonymous, who informed me. So in the UK, we have museums that are funded by government, by DCMS, the Department for Culture, Media and Sport. I'm not going to say which institution because that wouldn't be fair, but I have been absolutely told by somebody who works in who has a relationship working with DCMS, that they have been threatened with having their funding reduced if they don't manage their collections and present their collections in ways that are deemed acceptable. So make of that what you will. I make of it that I don't like it, but yeah, it's all I will do is keep talking about it in. I mean, look, let's be completely real here. Oh, it's getting spicy. We're an hour in. It's getting spicy already. All of us, approach history through our own politics. My politics will always affect the things that I'm interested in looking at. It will always affect the perspective and perception I have of things, and it would be disingenuous to claim that I am somehow exempt. Do I try to be balanced? Yes, I do. Of course, I do. I do try and be balanced. I do try and think about it from as many perspectives as possible. But I'm always going to come at it with my own politics. And in my own politics, I can see that government overreach, as I see it, into the way in which museum professionals present their collection, display it, store it. Government overreach to that is frightening. I think it concerns me greatly. I also think that we see the curriculum being flapped about with in schools year in, year out. Everybody wants to put their own stamp on it, make their own changes, and I don't think that it serves anybody apart from people who want to put their own stamp on things. And it's what's really peculiar to me is that there is absolutely no correlation or connection between the way in which somebody's educated at high school or sixth form and what they're going to be expected to do at university. They are different beasts in so many ways, and what to me works a lot better, having my husband that was educated over in France. So he sat his baccalaureate in French. So he did a 3-year course, very much more focused in a way that to me prepares somebody to go to university. And so I think that we can learn a lot from people elsewhere, from our European counterparts. Although of course in our country that's currently you're not allowed to say that. It's so peculiar to me. Like if somebody's getting stuff right, like the Nordic countries and the way they teach relationships and sexual education, it works. If it works, why aren't we doing something similar? But clearly that nobody wants to hear that. So I'm sorry, I've missed loads of really amazing comments. Would I consider doing more podcasts? Yeah, I'd definitely be very up for doing more live streams. I'd potentially do a live seminar. I think the only thing is that for a seminar to really work, it needs to be quite a small cohort so that we can all discuss it. So I wouldn't ever do a seminar. We've got 382 people in here and I can scarcely believe it. I wouldn't do a seminar for 382 people. That's not a seminar, that's a lecture. But yes, if I can figure out a way to keep a small cohort and maybe do it more than once, then yes, absolutely, a seminar would be really cool, and we can think about things like that. Megan, am I a fan of Dan Jones? Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big fan of Dan Jones. I'm a big fan of Dan Snow, the Dans. I think public history is really valuable. It's what I am aiming to do. I want to be, and I hope I'm becoming, a public historian. I think that's a valuable thing to be, and it's a helpful thing to be. I need to say a massive thank you to Barbara Cannon for your incredibly generous super chat. Thank you ever so much. That's really, really very kind of you. Joe, the story of the items on the shelf behind me, I did talk about it at the start of the live stream. So the fan, my husband and I went on Cuba, went to Cuba for our honeymoon. Invisible Ray, why do you hate the Queen? I don't hate the Queen, I'm a monarchist. The rest of them are guilt gifts from when he goes away to work abroad. So various places that he's worked for different companies, and he comes back from Djibouti or wherever he may have gone for work. Most recently, we did a little Swedish jaunt, and I've shown these already on the live stream. These creepy little creepers came home. Yes, the camel. I think the camel came from Dubai. He did some work out in Dubai. Favorite book? Oh, favorite book. I tell you the one that I talk about this book all the time and I come back to it all the time. I genuinely think one of the I can't see it, it's somewhere. One of the best books. It's from an exhibition, and that is the book Shakespeare's Restless World. I think it's the camel book. Okay, just hello camel. Turn the camel around. Yes. So Shakespeare's Restless World is a brilliant book. It's by Neil MacGregor, and he's the person who created The History of the World in 100 Objects, which was a Radio 4 podcast, and I believe also a book. This was a exhibition, a Radio 4 podcast, and also this book, and it's just brilliant. Please tell me the camel is called Humphrey. He is now. Humphrey the camel. He's lovely. So yeah, those are the things on my shelf, and my husband basically says that I never see a flat surface that I don't want to put something on. So I am a low-key hoarder. Oh, hang on. Would I consider visiting various historical places and filming videos about the history of each place? Yes. So I have been, with the world opening back up, I need to get some new kit. I talked about it in a video that I want to get hold of a gimbal. Yay for Humphrey. I want to get a hold of a gimbal so that I can take my iPhone and I can film on location. And then I want to do all sorts of cool things in like hidden nooks and crannies, which sounds dirtier than I thought. Do I have a spot for the plaque to go? Somewhere cool. So it's visible in every video. I mean, I can move things around. Although it looks like things don't move, they do occasionally move, and rarely, more rarely, they get cleaned. Favourite historical fiction novel or author? My favourite is Wolf Hall. Particularly Wolf Hall. I think the sequels to Wolf Hall are excellent, fabulous. But for me, and I know a lot of people have an issue with Wolf Hall and the way in which the voices are. Does that make sense? So I believe you're sort of listening at corners, and it's never completely clear who's speaking. So you're kind of catching, and it's only when you figure out people's speech patterns in the book that you figure out sometimes who's speaking. And I really like that. I really like the fact that it draws you into this notion that you are listening at doorways and trying to figure out what's potentially going on. I know it wasn't for everybody, and I get that people prefer the latter books, but for me it is Wolf Hall. Let's see. Have I seen Embroidering Her Truth? No, I have not, but I shall investigate it. Thank you. Megan, you named your turtle after Henry VIII. Do you name it Henry or Tyrant? Oh, I got spicy. I got spicy and naughty. I haven't read any Dorothy Dunnett. Opinion on Philippa Gregory. So when I was a wee lassie, my gateway drug was The Other Boleyn Girl. I think in the same way. So it's either, for most people getting into the Tudors, it's either something like The Other Boleyn Girl or The Tudors. And I read The Other Boleyn Girl countless times. I have an incredibly waterlogged copy because I took it everywhere. It came in the bath with me. It came on trips with me. I must have read it, 20 odd times max. That's more than that actually. And I just thought it was fabulous. I think that Philippa Gregory takes more historical license than other historical fiction writers. I think she writes really compellingly, but you do need to go away and figure out where the fiction pops in. So Megan's turtle, you would please know, is just called Henry, not Tyrant. The Shard Lake series is one I also want to check out as well, and I would love to do a video of the Mary Rose. Wouldn't that be super fun? That would be. Oh, the bottle with a date on it. Yeah. So the bottle with a date on it is. I think you're talking. That's because I did a historical European martial art until I got injured, and I took what's called a free scholar exam. So I had to hold the floor for 2 hours with a waster, kind of replica sword. Everybody circled round. I was there for 2 hours. I had to use the pads for 12 rounds, and I had to boxing spar for 12 rounds. And that, once I did that, I became a free scholar of that company, and the reward is a bottle of port and a badge with the number 15, with the date 1595 on it. So that is my bottle with a date on it. Thank you. I've got another super chat here. It's trying to escape me. Question: at what time did the English monarchs start speaking English natively? So that is a really interesting question, because it's not going to be that they all speak they all speak more than one language. So if they've all got usually French as either the first or the second language. So English as native speakers, let me, do you know what, let me go away and have a look that up, because it becomes quite confusing, because then we lose it again, because obviously when the Hanoverians come in, they're German speakers, but also in terms of the business of court and the business of law, Latin is the lingua franca. So English as native speakers, that's a really good question. Edward the First is certainly a native speaker. I'm wondering if, I just want to check if it's not before Edward the First, the English. I need to double check that, so bear with, and I will talk about, maybe I'll make a video on it, or I'll do another live stream and we can bring it up. Thank you for that question. I will make a note of it. Lil Dave and ... It's not got your full name. Thank you very much for the super chat. More recently German, yes, and that's the other thing, is we don't, it's not eminently clear when German, in terms of like the royal household, at what point English became the language they spoke to each other rather than German, because it's said that certainly quite recently they might speak to each other, and indeed there are the family members in German. Oh, we've just had a big jump. Yes, Holly, Gabriel did just pop on the channel during this video, and he's now gone down for his dinner. Oh, Intrepid Fraidy Cat. How far back in time could you go and still understand people? Well, that's a really tricksy question. I think it's clearly we can get back to Shakespeare, so the late Elizabethan period, and we can understand them to a degree. By looking at things like the works of Chaucer, that's how they're writing. So is that how they're speaking? So can we still understand people in the late 1400s? I'm not sure. So I think we can definitely understand people, we'd still be able to understand people in the late 1500s. I'm not sure how much further back than that you're going to get as to understand people. Also, this is another Weasley comment, where are you in the country? Because we can probably understand Midlands down, because that's Shakespeare's language. Could we understand people in Cornwall? Probably not. Could we understand the Irish? Almost certainly not. Could we understand the Welsh? Probably not. The Scots? Probably not. Unless, of course, you speak Scots or Cornish or Welsh or Irish. So if you went back to London in 1570 and you were in the South Bank, for example, I think for the most part you're going to be able to understand it, unless of course you're in amongst the houses of like the French or the Dutch immigrants, in which case they aren't speaking English. So to answer your question, maybe the late 1500s, but it's definitely a bit of a guess. Would I be interested in making videos of people who, not from England, but were important in Tudor times? I absolutely would be interested in making videos about Charles I of Spain, Catherine de Medici, and indeed, I'm thinking about how I can get together a video on the Sultanate of Women. I'm fascinated by that, but that's going to need a British Library trip, and thus the dedicated time to do that British Library deep dive trip. But yes, absolutely, I want to flesh that out and sort of talk about what else is happening in the rest of the world. Joe, I think this is going back to what you can understand. What language do you speak? If you speak German, you can find Old English more than a German speaker. Speakers of Dutch and Norwegian would have had a head start. That's a really good point. Is what your personal language knowledge is, and also whom you are speaking to in the past. And dialects definitely come into play with it, and also words change meaning across the history, and they have lots and lots of different ways and means of being used. Lou, could I make a video on how monarchs relate to their spouses? Yes, and I have certainly seen this request before, and so what I've been trying to do is, when I'm talking about the history of monarchs, if they are related to their spouse, I've been trying to connect that. So next Friday's video is a pickup from Friday before last video, where I talked about George the Fourth and his terrible toxic marriage. And I realised that I didn't mention what comes after George in terms of the succession, and it's really important. I sort of went, yeah, George dies, the end, blah blah blah. So next Friday's video is a look at what happens in the aftermath of the death of Princess Charlotte, and so I talk about a family tree of marriages, and there's a lot of cousin marriage. So that will be the thing that hopefully you will enjoy that video, because I do pull up a bit of a family tree as much as I possibly can, because it's more of a wreath, to be honest. Bob Short, thank you very much for your super chat and your lovely congratulations. What are my thoughts on Eleanor of Aquitaine? And have I seen The Lion in Winter? No, I have not. I've heard about The Lion in Winter. It's one of the ones that's on my list to watch, but I haven't seen it. And in terms of Eleanor of Aquitaine, my view on her is pretty much shaped by the notion of her as a she-wolf. And if you're interested in, I'm sure that many of you will have read it already, Helen Castor's book, She-Wolves. So that's a reimagination of various women who throughout history have been referred to as she-wolf. And I think that for the most part, the women in history who are remembered as she-wolves are women that I am fascinated by. Are they necessarily good people? Good people? Probably not. Is anybody a purely good person? I don't know. I think everyone's trying their best. I say this often as well. Nobody thinks they're the bad guy. However depraved they are, however villainous we might view them as being, however violent or torturous or offensive they might be, then they still think they're doing it for the right reason. So yes, I mean, I think a video on the medieval queens is something else that probably needs to be done as well. Let's see, I'm hopping about in these comments. A video on the other people in Fox's Book of Martyrs. Yep, I can certainly have a deep dive into the Book of Martyrs. I think it's a fascinating text, and I will see if I can dig out somewhere to watch The Lion in Winter. Our DVD player's broken, so I have to find somewhere that I can stream it. History of She-Wolves. Helen Castor is a phenomenal scholar, and the book is just chef's kiss, amazing. Cousin marriage is very common in rural Scotland, Norway, and Sweden. Yes, lots of. It's not illegal today. Cousin marriage is not illegal today. But there are a lot of royals that marry their first cousins, and for better or worse, people have feelings about that. Maybe I also have feelings about that. Is there a particular historical mystery you would like to see resolved? Yeah, a bunch, a whole heap of a bunch. Why does Amy Dudley Rob's Heart send people away? Does she trip? Does she throw herself? Is she pushed? So the death of Amy Dudley is one. Prince of the Tower, for sure. Need to figure that out. What happened to Christopher Marlowe? Like, what's going on there? What's the background to that? Other historical mysteries. Yeah, so pretty much a whole bunch of historical mysteries would be something that I would like to know the answer to. And just generally, like, if I had a time machine, I would like to go back and just listen in at various doorways and see who's talking about what and who's creating chaos. Leslie asks, who is the one woman from history that you would love to meet? I did mention Bess of Hardwick before. I mean, I don't know if we'd get on. I think she'd be quite difficult, but I think I'd enjoy her. But for somebody else, we've already mentioned Bess, who else would I like to meet? I'd like to meet Catherine Parr. I have a lot of time for Catherine Parr. She is, I mean, it's weird to say favourite wife, but she's probably my favourite wife. I think she's really interesting. Nicola de la Haye is a really interesting figure as well, who I would need to do a big deep dive on. She does sit slightly outside of my period, but I can check that out. Kids shows. So look, asking me to create kids-friendly content. I collaborate with a wonderful channel called Lauren Learns History. I think you were talking about kids of about 12. So Lauren Learns History is for slightly younger children, but I don't intend for my content to be, certainly on this channel, to be stuff that children cannot engage with or watch. If in particular there are topics that your 12-year-old is interested in, I can definitely make a video on that. So hi Joe, let's have a conversation for sure about a collab. Yes, let's talk about that. Come get me on my email. Let's have a conversation. That sounds brilliant. Yeah, I'm really interested. You have a lovely lute. Is that a lute? It's a very small picture. That looks fabulous. Love historical musical instruments. How amazing. Yeah, let's have a chat. Great. Kayla, why are British queens called Mary, Elizabeth and Catherine? I mean, lack of imagination? I don't know. The common thing of naming people after other people. So it's thought, some say that Catherine Parr gets her name because she was actually named for Catherine of Aragon. So they are working in similar structures and similar things like that. My favourite historical place in the UK is either, I don't want to pick one. I don't like to pick one. So I'm going to say Hampton Court Palace, Tower of London, and Shakespeare's Globe. So I'm going to pick 3. Even though you said 1, I'm going to do what I like because I'm feeling rebellious. And I've got a Baby Shark mug with cold tea in it. Because, friends, we've been talking for 88 minutes. Joe, you are a builder and restorer of historical instruments. I've done a YouTube series about museum instruments. Yes, please email me. That would be fabulous. Thank you. Wonderful. Rhonda, come to Dallas. I mean, I would love to come to America. Colour and chat with Joanna, thank you so much for the super chat. That's really kind of you. Thank you. Thank you to everybody who's commented. Thank you to everybody who's super chatted. It's incredibly generous of you. My last wife was named after my first wife. Just Henry VIII things. I mean, is it a shock? Is it a shock? I mean, when it comes to Henry VIII and his relationship patterns. I feel it's the case. He's a man singularly lacking imagination. He is a person who, when it comes to finding wives, he steps outside of his door and he goes, "Oh, you're new. You're different from the last one. Swap." And basically, all a woman needs to do to catch his attention is just be the diametric opposite of the one he's currently married to. And then you're quids in. Maybe I'm being unkind, but I don't think I'm being that unkind. Let's do a check on the subscriber count. We are already at 100,000. I am amazed to say and so grateful. We are at 100,017 subscribers. I'm seeing, how do you write IGCSE style causation question? Can you tell me a bit about the structure? I am not 100% sure what you're talking about. Is it IGCSE a regular GCSE? Or is this an international GCSE? I'm going to have to figure out what you're referring to there. I do teach GCSE students, and for anybody who is looking to sit exams and write essay questions, ultimately you look at what you're being asked, you make sure you've understood what you're being asked, you probably need to define the terms that have been set down in the question. Then you're going to want to think about how you wish to answer it, what you want to argue, back up what you want to argue with sources and evidence. Always good if you can offer counterpoints to what you've argued, and then tie it up in a lovely bow with a conclusion. But your teachers should be able to give you a mark scheme. And I would recommend when you are writing your essays, particularly if it's coursework based, that you write with the mark scheme in mind. And also when you are revising and you are writing practice papers, do that with the mark scheme in mind. It's if your teacher hasn't given it to you already, then you should be able to find it online, and that's what I would recommend you should do. Go and check out the mark scheme and work according to that. Have I been to one of the Queen's Garden parties? Have I ever met a royal? I have never been to one of the Queen's Garden parties. The school that I went to, one of its patrons did become the Princess Royal, Princess Anne, so I have been in rooms with her, although I wouldn't say I've met her, I've been in proximity to her. Fluffy Monkey M, thank you so much for the super chat, thank you very much. Gandalf, hello from Rochester, indeed, and historic town, indeed. Oakland, California. Thank you. Thank you very much, friends. Yes, Linda, I am getting more and more croaky. What museum would you recommend in London? Well, I'm going to say come to here's what I recommend you do. And granted, I do work there. Come to historic royal palaces. If you're coming over as well, come to more than one of the palaces. Underneath the umbrella of HRP is the Tower of London, Hampton Court Palace, the Banqueting House, Kew Palace, Kensington Palace, and Hillsborough over in Ireland. So come get a membership, save yourself some money, go and see them all. On top of that, the other museums to go and check out, I think the V&A is fabulous. I really like the material culture collection that they have. Their medieval and Renaissance rooms are really well laid out. So those are my ones. Cameron, what historical site am I most excited to see that you haven't been to? Ooh, there are quite a few. I want to come to Colonial Williamsburg, but when will the Banqueting House be open to the public again? I am not sure. It should be online when it will be opening back up. I was not aware that it was closed. I thought they'd all reopened, so apologies for that, because I've been telling people to go and see it. So yes, I would like to go to Colonial Williamsburg. In terms of places in the UK that I haven't been to, I haven't been to Sudeley Castle, which I feel is gravely remiss, considering my personal affection for Catherine Parr. So I would love to go to Sudeley. Sarah, there is also a documentary series about the she-wolves, also presented by Helen Castor. The series is based upon her book, or the book is based upon her series. Kiara, what do I think about Mary Queen of Scots? I have made a few videos about things that connect to her life. I think that she, for one reason or another, was allowed to remain woefully unprepared for the particular challenges that were about to face her, and I think that in many ways she was raised to be a Queen of France, and it was never going to end well. I do also think that she has terrible taste in men. Terrible taste in men. Have I visited Ludlow? I have not. That's another one that's on my list. See, picking the one place that I haven't been to is really hard, because I also want to go to Ludlow. I want to go and see the Welsh castles. I want to go to Carnarvon. I haven't been there. Yeah, there's a whole heap bunch of places that I want to go and see. So actually, maybe I'll once I figure out this gimbal stuff, maybe I'll take all the stuff up there and work it out. So, friends, Colonial Williamsburg's near Jamestown and Busch Gardens. Well, that sounds fabulous. Am I coming to Canada? I have no immediate plans, but again, that's another place that I have been to Canada. I've been to Toronto, and I thought it was beautiful, and I would love to come back. Hilary, later live chat. Can I do some later period talks? Queen Anne. Yeah, I'm happy to talk about later period stuff. I have talked about Jack the Ripper in relation to my review of Hallie Rubenhold's book, The Five. I probably won't be talking about Jack the Ripper separate to that, purely because I think that what I discussed in the review of Hallie Rubenhold's book covers what I have to say, because obviously we don't know who Jack the Ripper was, and I'm in many ways more interested in the stories of the women who were sadly killed by him. Right. Time Team is back. I've seen that Time Team is back, and I loved Time Team, and I would like to check out some Time Team. Ruthless, you need a camper van. I mean, I do, but I'm not the type of bear to go camping. I'm not that animal, alas. I've slept in a tent for one night. I did not enjoy it. I will not do that. Maybe a camper van would be possible, but I far prefer staying in a hotel where there is running water and a toilet that nobody else is sharing. I'm particular and peculiar about stuff like that. Finickety, you might call it, or a princess. It's who I am. And maybe I'll change in time, but I can't imagine it, as I'm closer to 40 than anything else. Margie, thank you so much for the super chat. If I ever create a kids series of videos, I absolutely will happily, I will promote it to the hilt for sure. And Colour and chat, my idea of camping is no room service. Yeah, I mean, I feel that. That's how I feel. One of my cousins was going travelling, and they were going to go and sleep in the rainforest in a hammock with a mosquito net, and I was like, why are you doing that? And they were like, well, the mosquito net keeps the bugs off. And I went, I understand that. Do you know what else keeps the bugs off? Walls and a ceiling. So That's where I'll be. But you have fun in your hammock. Somebody higher up in the chat, I've forgotten who, kindly said that I should rest my voice, and they are completely correct because I have more videos to film. So I'm going to go and rest my voice now. It's been nearly 100 minutes, friends. I've had such a lovely time talking to you all. I'm definitely going to do another live chat. I'm going to also try and figure out how I can do it on my laptop, so I'm not trying to do this all through a phone. The current subscriber count is 100,021. So the next live stream may well be when I get my little YouTube play button. So I will be back, and I'll also be back next Friday and the Friday after that with my regularly scheduled content. And at some point as well, I'm going to figure out how to make that a premiere so I can chat to you all through the video. Justine, I didn't want to ignore you. I'm sorry if I missed you. I love you too. I'm sorry the chat is going so fast, and I'm on my phone, and I'm sorry if I'm missing things. So I will look forward to speaking to you all, and hopefully when I sort out how to do a live stream, no, that's the wrong one, a premiere with the chat, we can all have a conversation there as well. So thank you all so much, and thank you for sitting with me while we all got to 100,000. Yay, yay, yay. Hot baths and liquid vitamin C, yes. And less pollen. The pollen count is really high. So this is because I've been all snotty all the time. So I'm going to go now and stop croaking all over you. But thank you so much, friends, and I look forward to speaking to you all in my next video. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye for now.